Alright, so since you guys showed me so much love on my last video where I graded you guys' custom curse techniques, I posed another custom power system for you guys in the Discord server. You should definitely join if you haven't already, but this time, I asked you guys to make your own custom stands, and you guys did not disappoint because the creativity on these are insane. And I love stands as a power system, they're really fun. So yeah, this is going to be a fun concept to explore. But if you haven't already joined the Discord server, you should join up, link in my bio, we get lit over there. Now this ranking is a little complicated because when it comes to stand battles in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, it's not just based on strength. It's based on how well you can use your ability to adapt to the enemy's ability. So stand battles can be more situational with anybody being able to come out with a win. So my ranking doesn't necessarily mean that one stand is stronger than the other one. It's just a ranking on which stands I think would most likely win in a fight. But anyway, let me stop wasting you guys' time and get straight into the ranking. So I have 12 stands to rank for you guys today. And the stand that's going to hold my number 12th spot is a stand called Flawless. This stand allows the user to see 12 seconds into future outcomes. And any new future while viewing will change based on the actions of the user. And the second ability allows the user to summon 2 decks of cards, each card with their own effects as well as being able to explode like Gambit. The user acts as the Joker in the deck, with the first ability not able to be used to predict what card will be drawn, or the effects for the cards. And here are the stand stats for this stand. I'll place this stand last because it relies heavily on strategy and prediction, which can be disrupted by more unpredictable or overwhelming opponents. Its abilities are powerful but situational, making it the weakest on this list. A simple strategy to defeat this stand will be overwhelming it with rapid, unpredictable attacks that prevent future sight utilization. But moving on to my number 11th spot on this list, and probably my favorite in terms of references, I have a stand called Wherever I May Roam, which is a Metallica reference, which I'm not a big fan of, but I know enough to understand the reference, and it's pretty cool. Now the ability for this stand is called Redefine Anywhere. This stand can freely move on any object it pleases. This includes things like walking on walls, ceilings, or water to name a few. And it can also impart this ability to objects. The user can physically throw and control the flight path of an object through the air. Alternatively, this ability can control objects already in motion, but must be physically touched by the user or stand in order to control their movement. Kind of like Mista's Sex Pistols. But the last ability is this stand can create tunnels through objects that can span up to 5 meters in length. These tunnels cannot damage objects or people, and whatever they travel through will revert to its previous state once the tunnel is removed. Here are the stand stats for this one, and I also have an AI created image for this stand, and this stand looks really cool. It kind of fits the name of the stand. What do you guys think? But anyway, I think this stand excels in mobility and strategic placement, but lacks physical strength, making it vulnerable to direct confrontations. I think a simple way to defeat a stand like this is to overwhelm it with direct, powerful attacks that limit planning. But moving on to my number 10th spot, I have a stand called Wonderwall, which I think is a reference to Oasis, but I'm not too sure. This stand allows the user to make objects bounce. The more they bounce, the faster they go. By increasing the speed, it also increases the power. When it hits something, objects touched by Wonderwall can bounce up to 300 miles per hour. Wonderwall's second ability is it can temporarily make itself bouncy to reflect attacks and avoid incoming damage. And here are the stand stats for this stand. I think this stand's defensive capabilities are really strong, but it could be bypassed by strategic attacks from multiple angles. Its short range limits its effectiveness against long range opponents, and a simple strategy that could defeat a stand like this is attack from multiple angles, or use abilities that bypass reflection, which wouldn't be too hard when you think about stands at JoJo's. But moving on to my 9th spot on this list, I have a stand called Devour. This stand allows the user to corrupt the minds of its enemies and control them. With its ability Wound of the Dead, it bites its opponent, and once bitten, you will instantly be infected. Or if you were somehow managed to resist the infection, you would still die of blood loss. But if you were infected, you would instantly heal the wound, so you would basically become a zombie that has a grade A healing factor. And here are the stand stats for this one. And I also have an image for this stand, which looks kind of funny, to be honest. I placed the stand this low because the stand's mind control abilities are very potent, but its effectiveness is contingent on landing a bite, which can be avoided with proper strategy. An easy way to defeat a stand like this is to use long range attacks to maintain a safe distance, but if you can't do that, then you're kinda cooked. But moving on to my number 8 spot on this list, I have a stand called War. Now this stand is a group of invisible floating blades that the user can manipulate at will. These blades are sharp enough to cut through metal and are incredibly fast. And here are the stand stats for this stand. The reason this stand is placed where it's placed is while invisible blades provide a strong offensive capability, its reliance on deception can be countered by most opponents it comes up against. Simple way to defeat this stand is to use an ability that can deflect its blades, but you have to make sure it's stronger than metal, which are not too hard to come by in the world of JoJo's. But onto the stand I put in 7th place, I have a stand called Blame It, which might be a Jamie Foxx reference, but again, not too sure with this stand. It wasn't really specified, but if it is, I like the reference. Now this stand allows the user to reject and repel obstacles within its range. This ability allows the stand to push away physical objects, energy attacks, or even people, creating a barrier that prevents anything from obstructing the user. It can also send obstacles back towards the source, turning the opponent's own attacks against them. It has another ability called Obstacle Manipulation, where it allows the stands to control obstacles in the environment, using them to create barriers, traps, or even diversions. It can manipulate debris, terrain, or any object within range, turning the environment into a tool for offense or defense. The ability is versatile, allowing for creative use in battle by controlling the flow of obstacles and hindering opponents. And it has an ultimate ability called the Path of the Emperor, where it allows the user to entangle the opponent's stand with its own, creating a binding thread that manipulates the situation to increase the user's odds of winning. The stand can entangle the opponent's stand with a thread-like energy that binds their fate to the user's will. This thread is invisible and intangible to the naked eye, but those with strong willpower or those known to overcome obstacles can bypass it. It has another ability within this ultimate ability called Obstacle Removal. Once entangled, the stand can clear opponents from its path in various ways. This can involve temporarily disabling the opponent's stand, teleporting the opponent to another location, or even creating a barrier that forces the opponent to complete a series of tasks or challenges before they can approach the user. The thread finds the best possible way to manipulate the situation in the user's favor, whether by disarming the opponent, creating an advantageous position, or forcing the opponent to face other obstacles. The user will ignore any attacks and obstacles until the thread is broken, or the obstacle is completed. Here are the stand stats for this stand. Now I place this stand here because while this stand is very versatile with its obstacle manipulation abilities, its effectiveness can be countered by a strong willpower or an overwhelming force, which is also a heavy way to defeat this stand. And strong willpowers are pretty common in JoJo's. So while I don't see too many people beating this stand has a pretty easy way to counter it. But moving on to my number 6 spot in this list, I have a stand called Painted Black, which I'm pretty sure is a Rolling Stone reference, but not sure, it wasn't specified. But on to the stand's abilities, with the first one being Shadow Manipulation, allowing the stand to control and manipulate shadows within a certain radius, about 30 meters. It can extend shadows, merge them, and create new shadows to obscure vision or hide objects and people. The stand can make shadows solid, allowing it to trap or bind enemies in a shadowy substance that's difficult to escape from. Its second ability, Emotional Envelopment, allows the user upon touching a target to envelop them in a black haze, causing them to experience feelings of despair, emptiness, and melancholy. The psychological attacks weaken the target's resolve and can leave them immobilized by sadness. The intensity of this effect increases if the target has been exposed to darkness or shadows created by the stand. Its third ability, called Cloak of Darkness, allows the user to envelop itself in the Cloak of Darkness, rendering them invisible to low light conditions. This ability can also be extended to allies, making it a versatile tool for stealth and surprise attacks. And its fourth ability, Absorption of Light, the stand can absorb any light source, plunging the surrounding area into darkness. This can be used to disorient enemies or even create an environment where the stand's other abilities are more effective. However, it can't extinguish extremely powerful light sources like the sun. And here are the stand stats for this stand. I place the stand where it is because the shadow manipulation and psychological attacks are very potent, but it's less effective in bright lit environments. Its reliance on shadows could be a very good limitation. Just look at the character Popo from part 5. I think a simple way to defeat a stand like this is to obviously use bright lights to limit its abilities, but also resist its psychological attacks with a strong willpower, which again are pretty common in JoJo's. Now for my number 5th spot on this list, I have a stand called Chain Reaction. This stand allows the user to create and extend change from the stand's arms or the user's arms, which can be attached to non-living objects and manipulated from a distance. This can be used to set up traps or control the battlefield, with the user strategically placing chains in locations that can bind or restrict enemies. In addition to this, chain reaction's manipulation ability works similar to the concept of Final Destination. The user can carefully plan out a series of events using the environment and circumstances around the target to create a domino effect that leads to a desired outcome. And here are the stand stats for this one. Also have an image that they sent me in, and here's that. I think the AI kind of cooked for this man's stand, not gonna lie. But I placed this stand so high on the list because its ability to create complex chain events makes it a formidable strategic tool. Its potential to control the battlefield and set traps can be highly effective if the user is given enough time to prepare. Only way I can see someone defeating this stand is to disrupt the focus of the user or attack them so quick and don't give them prep time. Other than that, this stand's pretty much like Batman. You give him prep time, you're cooked. Moving on to my number 4 spot on this list, I have a stand called Ruby Horned God, which is named after Tarot Card 15. And this stand has 3 abilities: Root of Eden, Helios Overdrive, and Cloak of Jumanji. Its first ability allows the user to generate vines from their body without limit. The vines are under the control of the user and sprout roses along the vine. These vines can be detached from the user and placed in any location indefinitely. Individual groups of vines can even give specific orders to be activated when conditions are met. However, the primary function of Root of Eden is the ability to see and hear through the roses. Every rose relays sensory data to the stand user simultaneously. The stand allows for the comprehension and intake of endless sensory information with full understanding of that information. Any roses of vines still attached to the user can see into the past and future. It should also be noted that the roses have spin functionality. Some applications of the spin, by far the best power system in Jojo's. But for the second ability, Helios Overdrive, this allows any ripple or spin channeled through the stand or vines to be converted into actual solar energy. Though the user is protected from the radiation, their allies and bystanders aren't. Being hit with Helios Overdrive is similar to trying to tank a direct solar flare from the surface of a star. Should also be noted that the solar energy is technically ripple and spin, thus it can be seen by non-stand users. And finally, the Cloak of Jumanji is a crimson cloak that the stand wears that drops a random item every day. This can be any item. However, in times of extreme emotion and turmoil, when the user's fighting spirit is raging at its peak, the random drops will occur with something that can somehow help the user, even if the user doesn't understand how it can help. Here are the stand stats for this stand. And I also have a picture of this one. I don't even know where they got this picture, but it's sick. This is probably my favorite picture by far. Now the reason for placing this stand where it is while the stand possesses powerful abilities, it's vulnerable due to its low durability, but its offensive capabilities are counterbalanced by its defensive weakness. The only way I can see someone defeating this stand is to exploit its low defense, but you're gonna have to avoid those solar attacks, which might be a difficult task, which is why it's ranked so high. But moving on to my number 3 spot on this list, I have a stand called See and Take. For the first ability to stand, it's known as See. This ability allows the user to copy any move or ability they see using their eyes. When copying, they gain full knowledge of how the ability works, including its weaknesses and strengths. Not only does the user copy the ability, but they also adapt to their own fighting style, potentially improving upon it. Additionally, the user can copy and memorize the stand's techniques and even mental state of the stand user, allowing for perfect mimicry. The stand can materialize parts of its body like arms or legs to protect the user. These can now adapt to any type of attack they are defending against. For its second ability, known as Take, this allows for fully copying an ability. The stand gains purple eyes and can manifest the body parts or techniques of the copied stand. The stand can now blend multiple copied abilities into a singular, more powerful technique. The duration of holding on to copied abilities increases, allowing for more strategic planning. The stand can also slightly alter the copied abilities to create unpredictable variations. For its third ability, Adaptive Fusion, this allows the stand to temporarily fuse 2 or more of its copied or snatched abilities into a single hybrid move. This fusion creates a unique attack or technique that combines the strengths of both abilities and minimizing their weaknesses. The user can customize the fusion to emphasize different aspects of the combined abilities, creating a wide range of potential effects. The fusion can also adapt to real-time changes in its properties based on the situation or the opponent's actions. Now for its fourth and final ability, it's called Adaptive Evolution. This allows the user to adapt to any ability or attack it encounters, rapidly evolving to counter or neutralize it. This adaptation happens in real time during battle, making the stand highly unpredictable and resilient. And once the stand has adapted to an ability, it not only nullifies its effects, it can also temporarily reverse or absorb the energy behind the attack, using it to boost its own power or fuel a counterattack. This makes the stand user nearly invincible in prolonged battles, as they continually adapt and overcome any challenge thrown at them. Here are the stand stats for the stand, and I also have an AI created picture for the stand, which, not gonna lie, looks pretty cool. Now I'll put this stand here because while its ability to copy and adapt abilities make it versatile and unpredictable, it can be overwhelmed by sheer power or abilities it can't quickly adapt to, which is why strategy to defeat this stand would be to use abilities it can't adapt to quickly, or basically just speed blitz it. But moving on to my number 2 spot on this list, I have a stand called the Bird of Hermes. Now for its first ability, it's called Blood Storage. This allows the user to store blood and release it later, at much greater pressure and velocity. For its second ability, Formation, this ability allows the user to use stored blood to shape the user's body for an advantage, like making wings to fly or harden the blood to act like a shield or offensive weapon. For its third ability, Feeding, this grants the user the ability to take and store blood and use it to heal others, but it can't be used to heal the user. For its fourth ability, Total Darkness, this ability allows the user to shoot out blood in all directions, about 10 meters, and make a dome of sorts. And in this complete darkness, only the user can see. And for its final ability, called Falling in Reverse, this ability works by actively rotting the enemy's brains, effectively turning them into zombies that are easily taken control of by the stand. But it only lasts about 5 minutes. Here are the stand stats for this stand. I ranked this stand so high because not too many stands can compete with blood manipulation on this caliber, especially not the ones on this list. And the zombification abilities make this stand extremely formidable in battle. I think an effective way to beat this stand is to outlast its abilities or use long range attacks, which can be hard on a stand like this. But for my number 1 spot, I think we all seen it coming. It's my own stand. Now I know I said earlier on in the video that one of the stands previously was my favorite reference, but I lied because my stand is my favorite reference. And if you understand this reference, you gotta hit that subscribe button because we are now friends. But the custom stand I made is called Lucid Dreams, with the stand having 4 abilities. For the first ability, called Dreamscape, this allows the user to create a localized area where the user can manipulate the perceptions and emotions of those within it. Opponents experience their deepest fears or regrets, causing them to hesitate or become immobilized. For its second ability, it's called Reality Bender. This allows the user to alter the physical properties of objects within its range, allowing the user to bend, stretch, and reshape items to their advantage. This ability can be used to create barriers, weapons, or even traps. For its third ability, called Emotional Resonance, the stand can absorb negative energy and damage directed at the user and convert it into a temporary boost in power or speed for a short duration. This ability encourages resilience in the face of adversity. And for its last ability, Phantom Projection, this allows the user to project illusions of itself or the user, creating distractions or decoys that confuse opponents and provide openings for attacks. And here are the stats for this stand. I also kinda have an AI image of not really a stand, but something close to it. Here it is. I kind of like this image, not because of the stand, just because I like Juice WRLD. But I can't stress this enough, that my stand ranking does not determine if a stand can win in a fight or not, because stand battles usually depend on other factors such as environment, the team you're with, and just overall how well you can use your abilities to adapt to the environment you're fighting in. Most of the time stand battles are like 80% tactics and 20% strength. So if I ranked your stand lower and you feel like your stand can beat a stand that's higher than you on the list, it probably could. The right person just has to be using the stand. But anyway, that's all the stands I have for this video. And again, these videos are always fun to talk about. And if you haven't already, you should join the Discord server and join the discussions of custom power systems we have in there. And also, we do some pretty lit stuff over there. You should join up. But anyway, that's all I got for this video. Let me know what you guys think about the ranking in this video, and if you guys will rank anything different. But if you enjoyed this video, leave a like on it. It really helps me out a lot. And subscribe if you're new. And join my Discord link in the description below. And with that being said, Yeah.
Falling apart, it's all my fault. I don't know where the time goes. Stuck in a phase with a pretty face laced with the fate that it all ends one day. I don't really wanna change, I don't tell the truth. I don't really see a point if I don't trust you. I know how you wanna feel, I bet you wanna heal. I bet you wanna see if anything, you're real.